Welcome into the Insiders. I am James Ham. Joining me today, Jesse Tapia. Kyle is out. I was going to make up new things about what he might be missing for today.
Like, what do you mean?
Like all day long, I would say, well, Kyle's not here because...
like why he's gone?
Yeah. Like he had to wash his cat or, make
how
up...
his cats go.
But, make up random reasons why Kyle is not here today. But, sometimes we have doctor's appointments and dentist appointments.
There's a bunch of Christmas carolers in front of Kyle's house right now. What do you want the man to do?
That's right.
He can't leave.
He cannot leave. He's stuck behind a giant troop of reindeer.
In the middle of Jingle Bells right now. He's stuck.
That's right. I'm James Ham. Of course, Jesse Tapia is joining me today. We'll have Mark Jones pop in the 11 o'clock hour today. So lots to talk about. We are, of course, the Insiders, brought to you by Jiffy Lube here on ESPN 1320. And Jesse, we got to start. And you know what? We're going to start and we'll probably finish with the same exact thing. And the 2 hours in between, we'll probably talk about the exact same thing.
It's going to be a lot of Kings today. Buckle up.
It is going to be. If you're here to talk about the 5-29 San Francisco 49ers, the team that's done, that everyone's on the IR, we're not going to spend much time on the 49ers.
Isaac Rendo's a starting running back. Brock Purdy's a quarterback. Everything else is bad.
Yeah,
there you go.
If you got Guerrero in your waiver pickup, good on you. We're excited for you in your fantasy football league. We did, in fact, me and my son, we did pick up Guerrero. We had $77 left in bid cash of our $100 for the year, and we're like, well, we might as well just go all in. So we had the most expensive bid purchase I think that we've ever had.
I'm fighting for my playoff life, and Derrick Henry has a bye, so that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
But the Kings won.
The Swift Kirk in the Dickers is also missing Derrick Henry this weekend. So we're a little shorthanded as well. It's a tough bye week for a lot of fantasy football people. Let's get to the real meat of the bone, though. The Sacramento Kings have been up and down. They've been all over the place. There's this dark cloud. They are the Charlie Brown of the NBA right now, where you just kind of see this rain cloud following them and dumping rain on them at all times.
Yeah, it's honestly been pretty ugly. And I feel like up until last night, up until that second quarter when they went on that run, it was just kind of like, oh, we're just kind of waiting now at this point. We're just kind of like, all right, we'll see what happens, I guess.
Exactly. And I'm kind of torn now because when I think about the Charlie Brown analogy, I really feel like the Kings are Lucy, and every time Kings fans think they've got something cool,
that's perfect,
they pull the ball out.
That's perfect. Yeah, the Kings are not Charlie Brown. They are Lucy. The Kings fans are Charlie Brown.
That I would agree. So
we've been telling it wrong for years.
It probably is. Like the Kings fans are wandering around with the dark cloud, raining on them at all times, and the bad things always happen to them. And the teacher that you can't understand is always yelling at Charlie Brown. I think
that's perfect. Yeah, that works.
I think we've messed up this analogy forever.
Yeah.
Anyway, the Sacramento Kings decided that they were tired of being Charlie Brown or Lucy or whoever, and they welcomed in the Houston Rockets last night, a Houston Rockets team that was red hot, Houston Rockets team that is absolutely packed with talent, and not only talent, but the type of talent that usually gives the Kings fits. They're long, they're athletic, and they're extremely physical. They lived up to just about everything that I thought that they would be when we don't watch them full time.
Uh-huh.
And it wasn't good enough. The Sacramento Kings came away with a 120-111 victory.
That was the complete opposite, honestly, of what I expected coming into that game.
Yeah, you do know they were favored. The Kings were favored by 1.5 last night.
Really?
And we talked yesterday, Kyle and I talked about it nonstop, that this was like the biggest suckers bet ever. Right? Everyone's gonna be like, oh, of course I'm taking the Rockets. The Rockets plus 1.5.
One day we'll find out the truth about Vegas and who really runs sports, because it's a little ridiculous at this point.
Yeah. So I was very, very intrigued to see how the Kings would respond. And not only was I intrigued to see how the Kings would respond, but Jesse, I got to be honest with you. I've been through this so many times. Like my first 12 years on the job here, covering the Sacramento Kings, I saw 8 other head coaches come and go, but 9 head coaches. Mike Brown is the 9th head coach that I've covered. And you start to feel when things have gone south and when things are going to go even further south. And lo and behold, I think last night was like a stay of execution for the Sacramento Kings, for whoever. It was a moment where things could have gone even further south and even more dangerous, and they didn't, because the Kings stepped up in a tremendous way. And really, they played with force, they played with energy. And in the Western Conference, if you're not going to do this, if you're not going to show up and you're not going to play hard and bring energy, effort, and execute, those three things, you're going to get stomped on a nightly basis. And it doesn't matter. Like, there are not any horrible teams in the Western Conference outside of maybe the Utah Jazz. And the Utah Jazz have all kinds of talent and can beat anybody on any given night.
You're not going to be able to sleepwalk through Utah Jazz game.
No, you can't sleepwalk through any game in the Western Conference. The Kings have this season, and it's why they came into last night at 9-12. And so for me, that was the biggest thing: the energy, the effort, the execution. They came out and they looked like the more dominant, aggressive team.
Yeah, and that's why I think I was kind of shocked. Yeah, we'll say shocked, because honestly, I thought Houston going into that game was going to punch him in the mouth, and it was going to be an ugly game, to be honest. I didn't think the Kings going into it really had much of a chance, but come second quarter, I don't know if it was Dylan Brooks that lit the fire or whoever, whatever you want to say, but I mean, the Kings took it to them, and it was more so the Rockets were on the back foot the entire rest of the game.
Yeah, it really did feel that way. The second quarter, the Kings finished on an 8-0 run, but I think it was 11-1 in the last couple of minutes. They really turned up the intensity, and it was Dylan Brooks. Dylan Brooks decided he wanted to push Domantas Sabonis. He got a tech, and he wanted to get in Domantas Sabonis' head. Sabonis just turned around and walked away. We talked to Sabonis about it later, and Sabonis kind of laughed. He said, when I was young, I was a hothead, and I've really had to learn how to walk away from situations like that. And it felt like that was their card that they played. It's like, oh, we're just going to try to get physical and get dirty and get in your head. And then when you're in your head, we're just going to, run over you.
Yeah.
And the response from the Kings was no.
They flipped out on the Rockets. I feel like they got on the Rockets' head. I mean, you look at Ime and Sengun getting tossed. That was weird in itself. I don't know how that got so hostile or whatever, but I feel like the Kings kind of turned it over where they beat the Rockets at their own game, not playing dirty or anything like that, but more so no, we're gonna out physical you, and we're gonna get in your head too.
Yeah, Jesse, the problem that you have is when you decide that you're going to set a standard of physicality in a game, and the Rockets are usually the team that dictates the physicality. They're the ones that say, look, we're going to come in here and we're going to beat you up. And Mike Brown talked about it in pregame. He said when he coached the Cavs, he said he would tell his guys, go out there and be so physical that by the end of the first quarter, the officials can't keep calling fouls. Either they're going to call it or they're not. But we're gonna beat up on everybody the whole night. He said that's what the Rockets do, and that's the Ime Udoka way. That's the way that he learned to play the game. The way he played as a player was to come out there and be as physical as possible the entire time he's on the court. And when the Kings, number one, matched that physicality, that was big. But then the second thing is when this thing got out of hand and they weren't getting the calls that they thought that they deserved. Well, look, man, you're the one who set the standard for physicality tonight.
Yeah.
You're the one that says we're playing it like a 9.8. And now all of a sudden you want it to be called at a 6?
And we're throwing tantrums at this point.
Yeah, okay. That's not going to happen. And, again, I think Alperen Sengun is he's a next generation center. He's going to be one of the greats. He's going to be right there fighting with Sabonis for an all-star bid every single season from here on out. And it's going to get more and more difficult because Wembanyama is going to be there as well. And Sabonis is going to have a really difficult time ever making another all-star game in the Western Conference because of the young guys that are coming up. But there's a way that he plays, and he is a gigantic foul grifter. And it's one thing when you're, Shea and you're moving at the speed of light, or you're Luka and you're literally the poster child for the NBA.
Yeah.
You're going to get all these calls. But Sengun has this, he's ground-based, he's big, and then he turns into Gumby out of nowhere, all the time. So he starts asking for fouls, and he runs up, slams into Sabonis, and turns into a giant wet noodle. And then like
he's like an overdramatic kid.
yeah, exactly. It's like he's throwing a tantrum at a grocery store. You know, you bring your kid through through to go check out, and of course they line it with candy just to mess with you. He's that kid who's just like he slams into Sabonis, turns into a giant wet noodle and flops everywhere, but keeps his dribble because of course it's all an act, and then tries to attack Sabonis off the dribble. Sabonis plays defense with his chest, and then just this crazy meltdown. I was here for all of it because I was here for Dylan Brooks getting tossed, picking up his sixth foul, because I thought he instigated all of this, and then I was very much here for the Emi Udoka and Alperen Şengün like meltdown.
Yeah, I was sitting there watching it. Like, I don't get why you guys are going so wild or so crazy right now. It felt like they were kind of overdoing it at that point. Like Emi Udoka's kind of charging at the ref or whatever, and they're holding him back. Like, I thought that was all kind of extra.
Yeah, no, I thought so too, and I think at a certain point, it's possible that Emi was trying to protect his player, but at the same time, it's not like his player got hit like when he was in the air and it was some dirty play, and it's not like the foul calls were egregious one way or the other.
That's what I'm saying. I wasn't watching like, oh yeah, I get it, but
yeah, I mean, like, look, the problem is that when you say that we're playing at 9.8. that we're all going to go out there and beat up on each other the whole night. When every single rebound that the Kings got on the defensive end, either Tari Eason or Thompson ran at the ball handler and fouled them. Like ran at them and like tried to get a steal.
Yeah.
And ran into somebody. And the Kings were like, what are you guys doing? Why do you keep running into us? Like that's the standard that they set. We're gonna play a frenetic, chaotic game, and we're gonna out-bully you. And the fact is that last night the bullies got bullied.
That's honestly pretty much it. That's the perfect way to sum up the game. Bullies got bullied yesterday, which is nice because we haven't seen that from the Kings, I think, all year. But maybe it's a start.
We might not have seen that from the Kings for the last 3 years.
Yeah, that's fair.
And it's possible that we might have seen that for the last 15 years. You know, it's kind of the way that it goes. Like this team hasn't had that sort of, personality. But again, if you're going to compete in the Western Conference, Jesse, that's what you have to do.
Yeah, you need that.
Yeah. If you're going to just show up and think that you've got more talent than the other team, but you're not going to play hard, you're going to lose a good portion of the games at the NBA level.
Yeah.
We do have all kinds of incredible things to sort of break down from this game. The one thing that I loved, Dylan Brooks is one of the true instigators of the league, and like almost like a fake tough guy. Like
if you're his teammate, do you ever get tired of that? Because you did piss off De'Aaron Fox yesterday. Like they were talking about it post game. Like don't piss off De'Aaron Fox, all that stuff. But like you get tired of it. Like kind of like, hey, can you kind of just relax and play ball today?
Well, I found it really like it was funny to hear Fox talk because Fox was very clear. Like, look, people around the league know they don't mess with me that way. They know what happens if you mess with me that way. And I'm thinking to myself, well, like, what are you gonna like stick somebody? I'm confused. Like, what do you mean they know?
What happened? Yeah.
Like De'Aaron's like, oh, they know. It's like, okay.
I think it just means De'Aaron's gonna have a great game no matter what.
Well, that's the problem. So, like, I need somebody on his team or like somebody that's part of his group or something to like literally insult him before every game.
Yeah,
like,
we need the Sacramento Kings need to hire a De'Aaron Fox motivator.
Yeah, like somebody slap him in the face, or
I don't know if we need to do all that.
If he's walking down the hall, you just trip him. Somebody like, oh yeah, I just disrespected you. Like whatever it is to get him motivated to do that. Because like, look, De'Aaron Fox is a great player. I'm not. But when De'Aaron Fox is pissed,
yeah, you can't stop him.
He goes to like some other level. And even last night, I think he had something like 8 of the final points in the second quarter when they rallied and they got it to within 1. And what they did right there is, again, Dylan Brooks instigated a bunch of stuff. Then they go to right after that, Sabonis, I think it was Sabonis cut somebody with an elbow, and they went and reviewed it to see if it's a flagrant. And while they did that, the in-house guys who run the scoreboard, Kings employees, they did a wonderful job, because what they kept doing was like panning to a little girl in the stands and everybody would cheer, and then panning to Dylan Brooks and everyone started booing.
That's how you do it. Solid work.
They just kept doing it though, because it was like a minute 30 probably break while they were looking at the play.
Yeah.
And they just kept going back and forth. They're giving this little girl candy. She's like celebrating, slams and ends up picking her up and holding her up in the air. And then they pan to Dylan Brooks, and everyone in the arena, the fans responded in a tremendous way. It was very loud in the building. They got into the game, and not only that, but they had a villain of the game, and it was Dylan Brooks. And it's almost like the dude turned on the faucet and they didn't know how to shut it off. Like, oh no.
That's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
Like, as soon as Dylan Brooks did what Dylan Brooks always does, like I said, the Rockets were on the back foot the entire rest of the game.
Yeah. I mean, that's when you're watching it play out, you're like, okay, like having Dylan Brooks on your team would be nice because he is physical. He is a great jump shooter. Although a lot of his jump shots he shouldn't be taking. He's also like a very, very good defender. And, the Kings were interested in Dylan Brooks a couple of years ago when he became available in free agency and he signed with Houston. The money got too big and they had other plans, right? But either way, like this is a player that I think the Kings have always kind of needed.
I feel like you take the good with the bad, like the bad with the good, I guess, with Dylan Brooks. Like, he does bring something to your team where like you are going to improve, but there are also are the games where it's like, all right, Dylan kind of did too much today.
Well, I think that there's going to be a lot of times where he just wears out his welcome. And it happened in Memphis, and they scapegoated him in Memphis.
Oh, yeah. I think, what was it? The tweet from Shams said Memphis Grizzlies said they will under no circumstances be bringing back Dylan Brooks or something like that. That was weird the way that ended.
Well, it was very weird, especially when you have a guy who was, kept waving guns and on Instagram posts, it kept getting suspended by the league. You had a bunch of injuries. You had a bunch of other guys doing stupid things on the court. You had like John Morant's dad trying to fight Shannon Sharp on the sidelines. Like all of these things are happening, and you like, oh, it's Dylan Brooks' fault. It has nothing to do with the superstar who keeps missing games because the league suspends him for 25. Like, it had nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
So anyway, I kind of I found that I'm amused by Dylan Brooks, but I once again was reminded that I don't think I want any part of him, because he brings that out in other teams on occasion. And sometimes I think it works because he bullies people that are okay getting bullied and shrink up into a shell and are like, okay, no, I'm not going to fight back. But last night you saw the Kings go, oh, no, I'm going to fight back. Even the way that Dylan Brooks fouled out was so perfect. Keegan Murray, the quietest guy on the court, he just stands in and takes a charge on a fast break, and Dylan Brooks runs him right over. It gets the call, out of the game. That's 6. See ya. And Keegan's like, just points the other way. And he was asked about his celebration. He's like, yeah, I just pointed the other way, and made sure that Dylan Brooks saw that I was pointing the other way.
It's a 7 out of 10 impression right there. I'll give you props.
Yeah. So that was it. Like, it was like, okay, see ya.
Yeah.
But like, I thought that there was a way that the Kings responded that I did not expect, and I don't think a lot of people expected. Somehow Vegas expected it,
which makes no sense. Again, Vegas, we'd like to learn your secrets one day.
Yeah, nobody else really expected that to happen last night.
The Kings being favored in that game makes absolutely no sense. Like, we don't have to go over it because you and Kyle did yesterday, but I can't rationalize that at all.
But then everyone who took the Kings won.
I guess we're the dummies.
That was no one.
Yeah.
No one took the Kings to win. Everyone took the Rockets, and the Kings, like, they just slapped them down. Like, it was pretty crazy. We had some good things from this game. Outside of the fact that the Kings won 120 to 111. I think, Jesse, the starting lineup is starting to gel. And, it's a couple of games in to this process, right? With Malik Monk being in the starting lineup. But last night he had a career high 12 assists. We talked to him in the locker room afterwards, and he was very clear. Like, look, they can't defend me and De'Aaron. I think his quote, they can't blitz me and Fox. Somebody's going to be passing.
Yeah, Malik Monk, because Malik Monk is not just a guy out there. He's not a role player or anything like that. Malik Monk is like a playmaker who makes a difference, a big impact.
No, he does. He makes a tremendous difference. And, 12 assists. He had got to 10 assists multiple times in his career. I think this was his 4th double-double, so probably he had 3 other times where he at least got to 10 assists, but he never broken through and hit the 12 mark. And then the Kings probably had like 5 shots to get him his 11th assist and kept missing. But what it did is his play style and his willingness to accept a role as not just a scorer. He ends up with 17 points, but it's because they fed him late. But it just put so much pressure on the Rockets defense because you had like dueling banjos. You had guys coming at you from both sides of the court at all times, a lefty and a righty, and both of them are dynamic in their own way. And Malik is one of the best passers, one of the best pick and roll guards in the league.
He's probably one of the more underrated players in the league, I think.
Oh no, I totally agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if just like throwing it out there, I wonder if he'll get 6th man of the year now that he's starting.
I mean, that seems to be the requirement.
Yeah, I guess it is possible.
Nas
Maybe
Reed really did come in, start 14 games. Like, yep, Nas did it.
Nas did it. Yeah, world's best cup of coffee. Yeah, so I'm concerned with like how they're gonna backfill behind Malik, but I love the energy. I love what the Kings look like when he's on the court, especially with De'Aaron Fox. I love the 2-man game with him and Sabonis. I'm loving this development of Isaac Jones. These are all things we're going to get to in 6/7 quick thoughts a little bit later. But like you're seeing that, like, look, it's going to be difficult because you do have to find somebody else like Malik to be off the bench. Maybe that's Devin Carter. Maybe it's Keon Ellis, who did not play last night, got a DMP CD. Maybe it's somebody that we don't know yet, but you're still going to need that guy to bring energy off the bench if Malik's not there. And the Kings never just do like 5 bench players at one time. Last night they only played 8 players total before the last 2 minutes where they brought in some scrubs. But my point is, I think what we saw last night was the Kings firing on all 8 cylinders, for the first time.
Everyone out there was contributing.
Yeah, even
like Jay Crowder. I don't think Jay Crowder scored any points, but I mean, he helped out and stuff like that.
Well, yeah, I mean, what Jay Crowder does is he does what Dylan Brooks does, except for he's not a jerk about it. He's more of a real tough guy. Maybe he's a fake tough guy as well. Maybe we've never seen Jay Crowder like beat someone up. I don't know. Maybe he has.
I can vouch for Jay Crowder. He was on the Celtics for a few years. Definitely a tough guy.
Yeah, he's a tough guy. He's not going to put up with any of that stuff. And I thought that there was going to be a point where we saw Jay Crowder versus Dylan Brooks, and it's like, oh, it's on like Donkey Kong. But it never happened, at least not that I saw. So I thought that this was a moment where the starting lineup and then the other guys started to gel. And we've been waiting for it. And it's even something I had asked Mike Brown during pregame. Like, how much do you need this thing to these guys, the other guys, to figure out their roles and start playing to their strengths? And he's like, man, yeah, we do. We need it bad. But like, you can't, you never know when it's going to like gel, when you're going to have some sort of like epiphany moment by players. And I thought last night was one of those nights.
Yeah. I think too, like you mentioned, you're going to have to fill Malik, like the backfill Malik Monk's spot now that he's starting. I think that's something from Monty McNair. I'm not sure you're getting that from the guys that are there right now.
No, I totally agree.
Yeah.
I mean, there are guys like that out there. And again, it might be Devin Carter. Like we got to give him a shot, right? Yeah, and we're talking about, he's probably a month away at this point. So maybe you can make it to that point and then see what he's got. Maybe he can bring that energy and sort of that fire. I'm intrigued by him. The wingspan, everything else, the athleticism, the ability to shoot the three. He's been shooting for months. So like he'll be ready when it hits.
How ready do you think he'll be? Because I wonder, like a rookie who's missed, like the timeline was 6 to 8 months. I don't know how much his time has been now and how close he is or whatnot. But like how game ready do you think he could be, like off the bat? Like, do you think it'd be like a month? Like it'd take a month for him of NBA game time for him like to really get going, or like how much do you think he contribute like to start?
Well, I mean, I think initially you're worried about that, right? Like how long is it going to take? And he is way behind the 8 ball. He did not participate in training camp or anything else.
Yeah, he's missed a lot.
But when you need a player to play 24 minutes or something like that, that's a problem. When you need a guy to go out there for 3 minutes in the first quarter and 3 minutes to open the second quarter, and then come back in and play another 3 minutes and 3 minutes in the third and fourth, and maybe you don't put him in for 3 minutes in the fourth if it's not going well. So to play 9 to 12 minutes a game, I think you can get away with bringing a guy along in that scenario. it's kind of what we're seeing with Isaac Jones, and Isaac Jones just keeps demanding more and more playtime.
Yeah, he's producing definitely.
Yeah. So I'm gonna. I think we need to like take a step back and say, okay, look, we're going to hopefully he can contribute. And if he can't, you should already have a plan B in place anyways. Maybe it's Jordan McLaughlin who comes in and just gets a couple of extra minutes and brings some spark. Maybe it's Keon Ellis. Maybe Colby Jones figures something out. I don't know. Maybe Mason Jones. He's been battling some a hamstring issue. He's back on the court at the G League level, but maybe he's the guy that you say, okay, let's give him a little bit of burn and see if he can bring that energy that we're missing, that spark off the bench. We also we had the blow up on the court where Emi Udoka lost his mind and chased a ref around, and then while that was happening, Şengün walks by the official and yells something really loudly, and he gets tossed. But we also have this situation where Tari Eason walked by and like knocked the ball out of Malik Monk's hands. So Malik Monk ran over and like fought to get the ball back during the whole skirmish thing. And it was just Malik being Malik and just kind of, being a nuisance in his own way. But then Tari Eason, according to our friend Sam Amick, lost his mind after the initial blow up as well. And I don't know if it was right at the end of the game. I'm not sure. It's right down below us, and somehow we miss this. But according to Sam Amick of The Athletic, Tari Eason had to be restrained from going into the stands last night. There's a walkway right behind the visitors' bench. It's a ramp that goes up to the stands, and somebody must have said something to him because he started chirping back, profanity laced, threw a towel, and then tried to go into the stands and was stopped by security. So that's probably going to warrant some fines, some maybe a possible suspension.
Yeah, I'm curious when it happened. I was reading Sam's article. I might have just missed in the article or whatnot, but I don't know what. Yeah, I missed when it happened. I guess I was watching the game on TV, but I don't think they covered it at all either.
No, I don't think we saw any of it. Even like, again, it's right down below us. But there's a lot going on, and when you're trying to write and post things at the end of the game, like you do miss some of that stuff. But it definitely was a weird situation that they've got to figure out, and I think the Rockets are going to get fined a lot from this game. There was a lot of, Emi Udoka's post game comments like, "Whoa."
Yeah, he'll catch a nice little fine. Do we want to? Is it more or less than $40,000 for Emi Udoka's fine? Because he charged at the ref during the game, and then he did double down after the game, post game. Like, yeah, these refs stink.
Yeah, I think he said they need new glasses,
pretty much.
And he dropped some explicits there too.
Yeah.
I think he'll get Mike Brown got 30,000. I think he'll get 50 because it was multiple acts.
Yeah, I think that's a good number.
Yeah, I think that'll be the number, and then Şengün's going to get hit with probably 25 as well.
I think that's a good number too.
You know what, Jesse? We got to step aside and take a break. We're the Insiders here on ESPN 1320, brought to you by Jiffy Lube. We'll be back in just 1 minute.
Okay.
And we don't have a live right now?
No.
All right.
Live is at the end of the show.
Oh, you just doubled up. That was weird. There were two Jessies at one time. Oh, sweet.
We have two different microphones in here. I always forget.
The end of the show? Oh, that's the live read? Oh, that's not good. Oh, let's do it. No, let's do it after. No, let's do it next break. Yeah, because when we have Mark on, we're not gonna want to like do that. What's going on? Sass, the Rockets turning into the Jailblazers too much. Like, there's a little bit of that, but you got to remember the Jailblazers. They're called the Jailblazers because they had like off the court criminal situations, multiple situations. The Ruben Patterson situation. There was like all kinds of stuff going on. Not good stuff at all. I think the Rockets play physical and they're young, and the fact that you're getting a young, super athletic, super long team to go out there and play physical is pretty crazy. Like that, the way they're playing. Come on, NBA guru Zach, what are you doing? That's just ridiculous. I would say, like, if Fox does become available at any time, you're definitely Houston's going to be a team that you're going to go to. I mean, just look at their talent level. Like, if you're going to make a trade, I don't think the Kings are, but if you were forced into making a trade, that's one of those teams that you would actually look at. And I'd also say NBA guru Zach, since you asked the question, if Fox was trying to play well, would he not have gone for like 40 instead of 24? Just saying.
Fox is playing so well that he's trying to get traded, which also was resulting in the Kings winning games.
Yeah, yeah. There was one other one I started earlier. Russ Dog. Frustrated with Kings fans of how sometimes they want to be dumb and want to blame all losing games on Mike Brown. I think this is again, like it's not just one person's fault, and like everyone is to blame for where the Kings are right now. Everyone. Like I'm not gonna excuse Mike. Like his team hasn't been ready to play on multiple occasions, and that's on the players. But it also like there comes a point where you have to be able to reach in and get your players to figure out how they are going to match intensity, how they are going to do these things. And I think it's really good to see them come out and play like that last night. But that's 1 out of 82. I need that for 65 out of 82. And then you got a chance to win 50. And so I get that sentiment, and I definitely agree that that Mike has taken a lot of heat from fans who aren't paying attention to the fact that his players just stopped hitting threes. But it happens sometimes. Huh. All right. Welcome back into the Insiders. I am James Ham. Joining me today, Jesse Tapia. Kyle Madsen is out for the day. We are, of course, the Insiders, brought to you by Jiffy Lube.
Shout out to Dr. David. Kyle Madsen's out right now shopping for minor league baseball hats. That's why he couldn't make it today.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. It's also possible he's waiting in line for K-pop tickets.
That's fair as well. I think he posted his little Spotify, the Wrapped, I think they're calling it, where it shows like your stats and all that. I think one of the K-pop bands was his top one.
Oh, yep. I also think it's possible he's out shopping for glasses that he doesn't need.
That's fair as well.
Yeah.
Soren earlier, I saw this one. This was a good one. He's walked into the 95.7 studio. Forgot where he worked again.
Oh, that's possible. It's possible he thinks it's Friday and he brought donuts to the 95.7 studio for Donut Friday, even though it's Wednesday.
Kyle Madsen, man.
Also, Kyle Madsen, it's possible he's boycotting Wednesday because it's not Thursday, his favorite day of the week.
That's fair enough too. Just kind of getting it out the way, so we get to the real good stuff.
Yeah, there's all kinds of possibilities here. Jesse, let's get to the fast break. The Jiffy Lube, man, teamwork player of the game, and for last night, I think that Malik Monk's passing stood out for me as something that. Not that he isn't a really good passer already. I believe him to be an excellent passer. And again, I think you're going to have 2 guys in the starting lineup, maybe even 3 guys in the starting lineup. Now, let me keep doing my math. 4 guys now in the starting lineup that will average over 5 assists per game. And that's crazy because I don't think there are teams around the league that have that at all. Between DeRozan, Fox, Monk, and Sabonis, you're going to have a ton of assists for this team. And that's the way this should have been working out the whole season anyway. But Monk steps up and has 12 assists in a game. The last person to have 12 assists in a game for the Sacramento Kings, I believe, was Domantas Sabonis, which he's probably done 35 times in his time during the Kings. He's run with the Kings here. But what we do here on the Insiders is after every Kings game, we give out a code. If you go right now to ESPN1320.com, click on the Jiffy Lube logo. Our word for today, it was going to be Malik, but I was talking to Jackie and we changed it to chaos because Malik is chaos, but also last night's game was chaos.
Malik is good chaos.
He is good chaos. So CHAOS chaos is our Jiffy Lube fast break player password of the game. What you're gonna put in that you're gonna be entered to win a $50 Jiffy Lube gift card, gift certificate, which we pull a name every Friday. And not only that, but it also puts you in line to get one of our new Insider sweatshirts. Not the Insider sweatshirt that I'm wearing right now, but the new version that I wore yesterday.
I gotta talk to promotions to get me one of those.
Yeah, you're gonna go over there?
Yeah, I need an updated version.
They are very, very nice.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, we the Jiffy Lube, of course, our guy Jim at Brick House does such a great job, but the Jiffy Lube sweatshirts are some of the nicest sweatshirts you're ever going to run into. They're like primo. Yeah. So really, really good stuff. So I of course butchered that entire read, and we'll do another one later, and I'll probably
you'll get it later, James. All right, we'll pick ourselves up. We're all good. That's good.
Right. As Kyle says, we'll just fix that in like editing.
It was the greatest read of all time.
There we go. I think, Jesse, it's time to get 6 quick thoughts.
How'd yesterday's Kings game go?
Very good.
Kings insider James Ham has 6 notes you
Make
need
it 7.
to know. Here are James Ham's
7 quick
thoughts.
All right, man. Quick thought number 1. Keegan Murray looked like Keegan Murray. I don't care how many points he scored. He ended up with 14. He had 6 rebounds. He goes 3 of 5 from 3. Jesse, hallelujah. Amen. That was Keegan Murray that we saw on the court last night.
Keegan Murray was playing with some emphasis yesterday. He was playing aggressive. There was a few times where there was one time where Domas kicked it to him in the corner, and it's just as soon as Keegan caught it, it's like, I'm taking the shot no matter what. And I think that's kind of what you need from him, just going forward. You just need Keegan to be sure of himself when he's out there, I think.
Yeah, I think that's the craziest thing is that confidence, especially for 3-point shooters, it means so much. And if you hesitate at all at the NBA level, number 1, the closeout comes. But number 2, the thought process comes into your head.
Mm-hmm.
And when you just catch and shoot without thinking, that's when you find success.
Yeah, even trying to get to the basket and all that, just like I said, Keegan was playing aggressive and had some emphasis there. So hopefully he's able to just keep that going forward. Because he was talking the other day, I think it was at practice, he was talking to you guys, and he just didn't seem like he was too worried about it. It's like, my shot's going to fall eventually. We'll be good.
Yeah, I mean, he very much yeah, I'm fine.
I don't think we'll ever know if Keegan's worried, to be fair.
I'm in a good place. And it was like, all right, you're in a good place. Last night was the first time. And again, he does not have to average 18 points a game. But what he has to do is he has to figure out the 3-point shooting. He's got to figure out ways to be productive. He had a couple of blocks. He had a couple of big-time rebounds. He just looked like the player we've become so accustomed to seeing. And I thought defensively he was really good. Just overall, just for the first time in a while, it was like everyone relax. Keegan Murray's okay. And that's where I came out of that one. All right, let's get to number 2. DeMar DeRozan. He had 2 points in the first half, and I got to be honest, I was a bit concerned. He had no legs. Like every shot he took came up short, and it was like, is it going to be one of those weird DeMar DeRozan nights where he just can't figure out how to put the ball in the basket? And that, of course, doesn't typically happen. He came out in the third quarter and went back-to-back and ones, and then got to the free throw line. So in the span of maybe 2 or 3 minutes, he had 7 or 8 points. He had been to the free throw line for 4 free throws. and he just like cranked up the physicality, and he ended up scoring 14 of his 16 in the third quarter. And then once he started getting his shot going, and the defense started, moving towards him, then he started doing all the other things. He started rebounding, he started dishing out the ball, and to me, that was one of the more complete games that we've seen from DeMar DeRozan. It does not have to be 20 points every game, Jesse. Some nights you're going to score 16, sometimes you're going to score 15. I don't think that there's a baseline below that for DeMar DeRozan.
Yeah.
But usually it's 20 something. But I thought he was so productive last night and was so meaningful to what was happening on the court, especially in the second half.
Yeah, I mean, the Kings, like, you don't need DeMar to always go for like 28, 25 or whatever, because you have enough guys where someone else is going to step up if that's not happening or whatever. You just need him to just like steady produce and just play with a purpose every game, which he does for the most part. I think in the first half, the Kings were kind of trying to find their flow, but after that, it seems like he kind of got in with them.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, he finished with 5 rebounds, 5 assists, a steal, and a block. Again, he was just productive. He had a plus 17 on the night. That's what you're hoping for from him. Again, it does not have to be like this gigantic scoring output every game. And if he doesn't get that scoring output, he's not good for you. I think this is one of those games where he really helped fill up the stat sheet. And again, with him going for 5 assists, we had 5 assists for DeRozan, 5 assists for DeRozan, 4 for Sabonis, 12 for Monk, and 7 for De'Aaron Fox. The Kings finished with 33 assists overall and only 10 turnovers as a team. That's crazy. That's what Kings basketball should look like.
Yeah, that's winning basketball right there too. That's a formula for success.
Yeah. Let's hit key number 3. Malik Monk sets a new career high with 17 assists, go with 12 assists to go with 17 points. Hey, look, I thought he was absolutely brilliant. Like his energy, his ability to attack the rim. Again, the shots, he wasn't even trying to force shots or take shots early on. He goes 4 of 8 from 3, 3 of 3 from the line, 12 assists, a steal, 0 turnovers.
Malik Monk, I feel like, to sum up his career so far, feels like a guy who's a lot better than he's been allowed to be.
I totally agree. And you know what? Like, I don't know how many times he's played 35 minutes for the Kings, but I bet you it's not more than a handful.
Yeah. Like, I think for the most part, on average, probably average about 28, 26 minutes a game with the Kings each season.
Yeah, I think his assist. I mean, his minutes per game has not been extremely high, right? We've seen him. I think it was 25 his first season. It might have got up to 26, 27 last year, but I'm not sure about that. For me, it's always been, hey, can you go out there and can you hold up? Like Malik's not a super big guy. He averaged 26 minutes per game last year and 22.3 in his first season with the Kings. So that's crazy. He only averaged, I mean, that first year with the Kings where he averaged 13 and a half points and almost 4 assists per game, it was only in 22.3 minutes. He's going to have to play major minutes and he's going to have to hold up. I mean, we've seen Malik throughout his career go through these major lulls where he can't hit shots, where he's not effective. And that's a problem. And now that you're going to see his minutes jump to 30 plus a night, and he's all of a sudden stuck in that group of players that Mike Brown is going to run into the ground.
Yeah, you're a guy until we get someone else in there to take some minutes off of you. Like you're going to need to be here every game.
And look, I'm not taking a jab at Mike Brown there. Mike Brown has had no other option.
Yeah, he has no choice.
Yeah, even last night he played 8 players in the bulk of the game, and Jay Crowder, one of those players, only played 12 minutes. Again, you had 25 minutes from Kevin Herr, you had 18 minutes from Isaac Jones, but like Malik's gonna have to be ready, and he can't have this 3-4 week swoon where he can't hit a 3-point shot or his field goal percentage drops off the table. That's not what being a starter in the NBA level is about. So hopefully he's ready for all that. Let's get to number 4. Kevin Huerter finds his bench game. Like, look, Kevin Huerter has not dealt with change well at all. Like, let's just be honest. Like, he has not dealt with change well. And he doesn't like when his minutes were messed with. He didn't like it when Chris Duarte might be the starter. He certainly didn't like getting benched. But I thought last night was the first time Kevin Huerter just said, you know what? This is my new reality, and I'm going to be the best version of Kevin Herter in whatever time I get out there.
Well, I feel like that benefits everyone too. Like, yeah,
Everyone.
it might not be the role that you want, but who knows what your future is here or whatever. You might want something else going forward or whatever. But for the time being, yes, this is the role they need you to be in. And if you're not producing, that's just going to look bad all around. And that's not going to help the team. That's not going to help you. So if you're out there and however many minutes you get producing, like that's just going to benefit everyone at this point.
No, I totally agree. Like a good Kevin Herter is a good thing for the Kings. Like the Kings need Kevin Herter, especially with Malik Monk moving into the starting lineup. We didn't even really talk about that. This could be the guy. This could be the guy that you need to be that player and step in to a role that is maybe more suited for him. And look, he's going to get more opportunity. Last night he has 4 of 9 from the field, 3 of 7 from 3, shot 42.9% from 3, had 13 points. The 2 assists, the 2 rebounds, maybe a little bit more, but Kevin Herter also had a steal, also had a block. This team was aggressive from top to bottom, and I thought that Kevin played with the fluidity of the game. There were times where he got picked on a little bit defensively, but I also think he did a really good job. Fred VanVleet looked like he was going to start busting the Kings from 3, and he ended up 1 of 10 from 3-point line. And that's, if you're the Kings and you can hit 14 threes on 30 attempts like you did last night, number one, that's spectacular. 46.7% from 3, right? But the biggest key that I think we've all been waiting for is that the Kings had 14 made threes and the Rockets also had 14 made threes. And I think Kevin Herter was a big reason for that. I thought he did well defending out on the perimeter and keeping hand up. And, they go 14 of 39. They took 9 more threes, had the same amount of makes as the Kings. And, do I want Kevin Herter out there defending Jalen Green? Absolutely not.
Yeah, it's less than ideal.
No, that's not ideal at all. And when Jalen Green gets on a heater, you got to holy cow, look out. Why did they not feed him more? And why did they not feature him more? But that's part of being a young team and part of making a mistake. But I thought overall, Herter, both offense, defense, he was really good.
Yeah, he was productive. And like I said, that's just what you need from going forward. The Kings have no room for error right now.
No, the margin of error is gone. Yeah, not just it's funny, the margin of error is gone on the season. I'm just going to say it right now. I mean, when you're 10-12 and everybody in the Western Conference outside of you that, getting into the playoff picture is not going to be easy.
Everyone is really good, turns out, in the Western Conference. Literally everyone.
Everyone is really good, right? There's only 2 teams, 3 teams below you in the standings. That's when you start to you look at the margin of error being gone, but also the margin of error from one game to the next inside the game, it's gone. Like when you're playing, you need Kevin Herter. You need Keegan Murray.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to survive those games where those guys don't show up at all right now.
Yeah, you're not. So, all right, let's get to number 6. Sabonis and Şengün is just like must-see TV. It's so much fun to watch. It's a total contrast in style. One guy just has maybe 700 post moves, and the other guy has 2. And one guy plays like a tough guy, and the other one plays like a giant wet noodle. But Şengün is so talented, and to watch him and Sabonis go toe to toe, Şengün ended up with 24 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 assists. And Sabonis, it's almost identical. It's 27 points, 7 rebounds, and 4 assists. I think it's only the second game this season that Sabonis hasn't had a double-double.
It's like you said earlier, Şengün, you throw Wembanyama in there too, of course, but they're the future of that position right now. And it was good to see Sabonis, who is that guy right now, one of the top 3-4 guys or whatever you want to call it at that position, going up against a guy like Şengün.
Yeah. I thought that was a crazy battle and super important for the game. Sabonis was able to stay on the court. He had 4 fouls.
There's half the battle right there.
Yeah, and look, you only had to play him 32 minutes last night. That's pretty big. I think a reduction in minutes for Sabonis might lead to more productivity, but seeing Sabonis become more of a scoring threat is huge.
Yeah, Sabonis has really showed up this year too. I don't think there's been a game where it's kind of could it get used more from Domas on this one or whatnot. He's been really good this season, I feel.
Yeah, I think so too. There might be one game where you can point to, and even that game I think they won, where he didn't take hardly anything, and he probably still had 19 points on 6 shots. It's just kind of the way it goes with him. All right, let's get to number 6. De'Aaron Fox filled up the stat sheet. Fox finished with 22.7 assists, 6 rebounds, 3 steals, and a block. He also hit some shots. He was 4-6 from 3, and he brought such a moxie to the court. And he was chirping. He was having a good time, man.
Oh yeah, you could tell too watching the game.
Yeah.
He was talking to everyone. He's kind of like that was De'Aaron Fox's core yesterday.
Yep. I mean, that's the energy and everything, like the aura that he brought to the court. It changed everything. Like it made the Kings the dynamic team that they should be.
We need to figure out this whole pissing off De'Aaron Fox thing. I don't know if maybe you want to take one for the team and be like, hey, De'Aaron, Marcus Smart was kind of talking crazy. Like, we're just kind of lying at this point, but it's to get De'Aaron going. Maybe we kind of Michael Jordan this thing and De'Aaron kind of lies to himself. Like, hey, so-and-so was talking crazy or whatever. Now I need to tear him up. Like, we got to figure this out where we just get angry De'Aaron every game.
I will tell him next time I see him in the locker room, I will tell him every day when I leave the locker room and you're here, I'm going to say something rude to you to piss you off.
There you go, James Ham.
I am.
There you go.
I'm going to say something like ridiculous and hopefully it makes you angry. Like I will walk by him and say, I want the spikes back.
And you know what? When De'Aaron Fox is making his MVP speech at the end of the year, it's like, yeah, James Ham every day at practice would say something to piss me off, and that really helped.
Yeah, I'm going to kick him in the shin one day, just like walk by and like
good luck with that
and walk out. You know, that's it. I think that's the answer to all of our problems.
Yeah. Angry De'Aaron Fox is what the Kings need.
They do. They need it so bad. That is exactly the cure for everything. Let's get to our final. Normally we do 6. Every once in a while, there's a game where a 7th quick thought is necessary. Isaac Jones is, man, it's happening.
He stood out, James. He stood out big time yesterday. Even Steven Adams was giving him props on TV.
I know. It's happening.
Yeah.
It's happening, man. He is this year's Keon Ellis. He is absolutely showing up every single game. I didn't think that there was going to be a time where it's like, hey, he's going to get 12 points in like a couple of games in a row or something. I didn't think that. He needs to do a better job rebounding. But all of a sudden he's swatting at every ball that comes near.
That's what stood out to me yesterday. I feel like that stood out the most to me.
The goaltend, I'm here for it. Go ahead. The ball kept going up, and Isaac Jones just kept going up.
Make him think about it when they're going to the rim.
Yeah,
that's the whole point.
Yeah, I thought that his energy and effort. He makes mistakes, and like it's nuanced mistakes that people might not pick up on. But there are some mistakes happening, and it's mistakes in rotations. It's mistakes in boxing out. It's mistakes that like he just needs more experience. This is a guy who did not play at like high level. He got up to Washington State in final year as a college player, but this kid played at the JC level. Like he just needs more time. But it's kind of one of those things where he doesn't know what he doesn't know, and he's just gonna go out there and play his hardest and do his best. And like the rebounds, dunking over people that he has no business dunking over, like attacking Victor Wembanyama one night or going like right around or right over Steven Adams last night. Even Jabari Smith Jr., great shot blocker. Well, a very good shot blocker. Just goes right at him, doesn't care.
Yeah, this is him being thrown into the fire at this point. But like you said, just imagine when he gets some development, he kind of learns the game a bit more and all that.
I kind of
where he can kind of control it.
Yeah, I want him to not lose this, whatever it is that he is right now. I don't want him to lose this. It's just like he needs to be more refined on everything else, like the rotations and everything else. But like if he's just a little bit quicker in his thought process, he will start blocking shots at like a very high clip. And so I think it's really exciting. And Mike Brown has said like repeatedly, like, look, Isaac Jones is in the rotation right now, but he's got to fight to stay there. That's the best way to handle this. Like you don't want complacency. The energy and effort has to be there exactly like it has been the last couple of games. And you hope that is who he is as a player. But young players can get complacent. They can lose their way. They can get tired. They can hit a wall. And this is, the opportunities there right now. And I think Isaac Jones is answering the bell.
Yeah, he's been great. Like I said, he was noticeable yesterday. And you just got to make sure you just develop him the right way. So it just keeps going.
Yeah. I feel bad. Jake Crowder was left off of 7 quick thoughts. He's the only player that did not make the standard 6 quick thoughts or 7 quick thoughts, but
give him an honorable mention for today's quick thoughts.
Yeah, there you go. I thought in 12 minutes he played defense and he gave you your tough guy mentality.
Yeah, he's got attitude. The Kings need that.
Yeah. Especially in a game like that against a team that has a bunch of attitude. I'm just gonna ask you this question, Jesse. Uh, Isaac Jones, like again, we're not gonna see 5 of 5 from the field every game. We're not gonna see the 12 points. But has he changed your outlook on what the Kings are needing to add?
No, no, because it's nice and it's great, but he is a two-way player right now, and I can't count on Isaac Jones to be this the rest of the season. Like he's great right now, like it's production, but I still think if there's moves to whatever you thought before Isaac Jones is still what you should be thinking after Isaac Jones, I think,
Okay.
as far as how you need to improve the team and all that.
Okay, so then let me ask this question. Um, if Isaac Jones is who this, if he gives you a couple more weeks of this where he's this player, does it change your mindset on what you might do with a player like Trey Lyles?
Might not be popular, but even before Isaac Jones, I was kind of on the might be okay to move Trey Lyles train.
Okay.
You just needed production at that spot, and Trey wasn't giving it to you, even
Yeah,
before Isaac Jones was playing well.
I think it's unfortunate because Trey's been hurt twice.
Yeah, like he hasn't really had maybe the best opportunity to get going. Just given when you get back, you need time, like any player. But the Kings are at a moment right now where they don't have time to give.
Yeah, and I also think like there was a moment where Trey Lyles started to be very productive, right? We saw this grouping of games when you had Sabonis out, when you had other players out, right? When you had DeRozan and Monk out. He had 13 points, 7 points, 17 and 12. He also in those games had 5, 8, 3, and 10 rebounds. He started to give you more. He started to look more like Trey Lyles. He started to hit the three ball. He goes 5 of 7 from three. He goes 3 of 7 from three. He started to look like himself, right? That's a good thing. And you're hoping that when he comes back, it doesn't take like a 3-week ramp up because that's what it was. And it was just way too long of him trying to get back to the player he's supposed to be. And the Kings can't function if they don't have all of these pieces in place.
Yeah, because if I'm Monty McNair and I'm trying to work a deal or whatever, at this point, like I can't wait for Trey Lyles to be ready. I can't wait for Kevin Huerter. If I think this deal is going to help my team now, then you got to do it at that point. And it's not even Trey Lyles' fault at this point. It's just their 10 and 12 team.
Yeah, that and Trey Lyles is on an expiring contract, and
Yep.
he's an $8 million contract. And so if you do have to make a trade, there's a possibility that Trey Lyles might be involved in that trade. And that's just because that's the numbers. And you can trade him without getting deep into your core and bring back a player that's functional that might help this team. All right, well, we're going to step away. We've got to pay the bills. I'm James Ham. He's Jesse Tapia. We are the Insiders here on ESPN 1320, brought to you by Jiffy Lube. Welcome in. I'm James Ham of the Insiders here with Jesse Tapia, and we're here to talk to you about our friends over at Jiffy Lube. Right now, Jiffy Lube has an incredible oil change special. Go to jiffylube.com. You get a $33 off coupon right now. But also, like, look, this is holiday season. The last thing you want to do is go out there and have your car not be road worthy. So drop by your local Jiffy Lube. They are open at 7:30 every day, Monday through Saturday. Have your windshield wipers inspected. Make sure that both your headlights are working. They can switch out both of these things. They can take care of your headlights. They can take care of your wiper blades. But also, like if you're getting in your car in the morning, Jesse, and it just doesn't really want to start, and it just kind of chug and then starts, that usually means that your battery is going dead, and you're going to need a new battery. So Jiffy Lube can take care of you there.
Yeah, shout out to you for that. I took my car to the Northgate one last week. That $33 off coupon really helps. Let me tell you. I was leaving there with a big old smile because I got to get the full synthetic or oil change on mine or whatever. So it costs a little bit more money. So when I had that coupon or whatever, that definitely helps a lot.
There it is. So go to jiffylube.com, grab yourself a coupon for $33 off your holiday special oil change. And again, we're the Insiders, brought to you by Jiffy Lube. Yo. Yeah, Chester, I know. Like I'm not a live read guy. Oh, we got Charlie. Charlie in the booth. Maybe Charlie didn't know Kyle wasn't here today. Yeah, I have to switch over my son's car to full synthetic. I bought him a 2012 Honda Pilot for his first car, and it definitely needs synthetic oil.
Yeah, no, that's real too. I pull up that Jiffy Lube coupon before I even get to the place.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, that's the best part.
Yeah.
They're really, really good sponsor. I mean, last year the PS5 giveaways. We're not doing PS5s this year, but yeah, go for it. Mojo, I don't think Alex Lynn is totally out of the picture. Look, Alex Lynn is going to play. Well, very specifically, Alex Lynn is going to play tomorrow night. You got Zach Edey. Oh my gosh, I didn't even notice. V. Mark Jones is here.
Yeah, buddy.
What's up, dude? Just so you know, you are live on the stream, but
Lovely.
You're not live on the radio.
Lovely. Hey, stream, what's going on?
There we go. How you been?
Good, man. Just getting ready for this road trip. Hoping we get one in Memphis and get another one in San Antonio. And I was just thinking about how that one time we went into San Antonio after having a mechanical with the flight and had to fly in the day of. Everybody was gassed after getting hammered in New Orleans, and then we ended up beating San Antonio in a game that I never would have thought. That was like 2 years ago. So, yeah, that was pre-Wemby, so it might be different.
So anytime you want to hear excuses about back-to-backs or bad plane trips, just say, "Hey, you remember that one time in San Antonio?"
Exactly.
Are you like me? Do you like San Antonio?
It's convenient. It's convenient. I've kind of eaten everywhere there is to eat there, and it's a little landlocked, but outside of that, it's
Yeah. So when I was a kid, we took a car trip all the way across to Texas and Oklahoma. I have family, or I did have family in Texas and Oklahoma. And we went to the Alamo. And so every time I go to San Antonio, I go and take the Grand Tour. Just so you know, I think the Grand Tour of the Alamo, it's probably smaller than my bar at home.
I've done it. So I had a Christmas Day game for ESPN, for ABC, back when my son was still in high school, and took the whole family, like I do every Christmas, with me to wherever my game is. And we went and took pictures in front of the Alamo for Christmas. It was like, yeah, hey. I had to walk off the turkey and do something. So, yeah.
Yeah, I like the River
Walk. A
Walk.
lot smaller than I thought, though.
Yeah. Yeah, the Alamo is tiny. It's it's nothing. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like somebody has oversold it a little bit.
Yeah, when you hear the story of like 24 men held down the fort for, it's like, yeah, well, because 27 wouldn't fit.
Yeah.
We coming back?
About 10 seconds. What's up, Mark? I'm Jesse. Nice to meet you.
Hey, Jesse, what's good, man?
ID coming up right now.
Welcome back into the Insiders. I am James Ham. Joining me today, Jesse Tapia, and we have a big time guest. I always love this. Is my favorite. Like, Mark Jones is dropping by. Look at Mark Jones. What's up, man? It's always good to have you in.
Always fun, man. Always love talking Kings and talking NBA and the bigger picture. And that morning after a much needed win is always the breakfast. My coffee always tastes a little bit better. The espresso always hits a little better. Everything's a little bit brighter outside. It's all good, man.
That's right. Mark, we walked into yesterday's game, and yesterday on the show, me and Kyle discussed it. The Kings were favored by 1.5. And, I know you're not a betting guy, but
right.
Like when you're looking at that, you're thinking, okay, how's this possible? Like the Houston Rockets have won 3 in a row. They'd won like 9 out of 10 or something. They look like world beaters. They had the length and athleticism that the Kings just can't deal with. They were 3-0 against the Kings last season. All of these things stacked up. And then you saw the Kings come out and play with this different type of mentality, this different type of fire. Just how excited were you to see that this was a different brand? It was a brand in Kings basketball that we've all been waiting for.
Yeah, you know what, James, Jesse, I almost wish that we would face an opponent like Houston all the time, an opponent that's very, cantankerous, antagonistic, because it brought out the best in Sacramento last night. With Houston's physical style of defense, they bump you off their cuts, they top lock, they get into your face, they face guard, they do everything that antagonizes an opponent that's trying to run their offense. And it forced the Kings to, play at a higher level of intensity and, their pace on offense. And we talk about pace, not just running the floor, but pace in the half court. You saw it. They had to cut hard on those Canada cuts going through and those backdoor cuts and, on those DHO actions. They had to run hard to get the ball because Houston was denying everything. And it was good to see the team respond to that kind of physicality in particular,
There was expectations coming in this year about playoffs and hopefully top 6 and all that. Do you think this team is feeling any pressure right now given their start?
I don't think so, Jesse. I think that, we've given away a couple too many already at home, but it's nothing that 7-8 game win streak can't fix. We saw what Milwaukee went through recently, and I had one of their games a couple of weeks ago. They were in the depths of it, and they were walking floors at night. And right now, they're arguably the hottest team in the NBA. So, when you look at the fact that Sacramento hasn't been whole for a lot of the season, we've had already, I think, 8 different starting lineups. I think Mike's going to ultimately figure it out. He's too good a coach not to. And this is a team that still has a good shot of finishing in the top 6. And I think they will because we have too much, I think, offensive versatility. We saw that last night, not to be able to figure out. And if we can hang our hat on defense to the point where we're, maybe top 12 or even top 15, that gives us a great shot to be one of those top 6 in the West.
We're joined by Mark Jones, legendary NBA voice, also very nice Canadian man.
Hey, still got my passport. Dual citizenship has its benefits.
That's right. Mark, we have De'Aaron Fox's mom in the chat, which Lorraine drops by on occasion.
I love Lorraine. That's awesome.
Yeah, one of the nicest ladies ever. And before you came on, I committed to Jesse that every pregame when they're at home, when I see De'Aaron Fox walk in the locker room as I'm walking out, I'm gonna say something negative or kick him in the shin to make him angry. So he goes out and plays that fiery Fox.
Yeah, I love it.
So what I'm asking now is for your commitment that when I'm not there on the road and you are, can you take over and say something negative to De'Aaron?
It's a team effort, Mark. We all gonna chip in here.
We're gonna need you.
I'll do it for the team if you really need me to. I'll do it for the team. As long as De'Aaron can get past it afterwards and he knows that I'm just doing it for the team. Maybe it's like, you know what it is? I just thought about something, James, Jesse. Maybe it's not saying something. Maybe it's, how it is when someone steps on a brand new pair of kicks that you've taken out of the box to wear?
Oh, yeah, that's a no-no.
Hey, maybe just one of those accidentally on purpose, kind of step on his shoe without, hurting his foot or anything and getting it dirty and getting him just irritated enough. So as I like to call it, he goes Black Air Force energy, because there's that. The reason I say Black Air Force energy is always, if you know dudes that wear Black Air Force, they're a little different.
You leave him alone, Mark. You leave him alone.
Hey, he might be playing pickup ball with an ankle bracelet on. You know what I mean? You just say,
hey, Mark. Hey, look, you don't want to see me wearing with these white legs. You do not want to see me wearing Black Air Force Ones. Just saying. Long socks, short socks, it doesn't matter.
That might stand out.
There's guys, there's a degree of Looney Tunes that goes along with wearing Black Air Force. So I love it when De'Aaron gets to that point, and he got into that, that jaw jacking with Dylan and with Jabari Smith Jr. with about 5 minutes to go in the second quarter. And I turned to Katie at the time and I said, you guys were at the game, obviously, probably didn't hear it. I said, Katie, De'Aaron has 5 points right now. He will for sure end up in double figures in this next 4.5 minutes. And because he's going to be mad. And he was pissed, and he went and did his thing. He went right to the elbow and got his little turnaround jump shot off the spin that he likes to execute. And when he gets to see, but Mom, Lorraine, raised a really kind of cool young man. So that's who De'Aaron is at his core. That's his DNA. That's the trick with a lot of the guys, is finding that extra level of intensity, whether it be through self-motivating yourself, something imaginary, make up a slight, maybe pretend that somebody said something to you, whatever it is. But when De'Aaron gets to that level of intensity, he's an all NBA guard easily.
This is year 8 from right now. Do you think we're seeing the best version of De'Aaron Fox so far in his career?
Yeah, I still think there's another level, and I think we can see it this year once the Kings get whole. Once Mike starts to have a roster that's healthy and gets a rotation set, and De'Aaron has a chance to really pick his spots without having to wear too many hats, if that makes sense. Because when he's a focused scorer, he's as dictatorial and as imperious and powerful as anyone out there going to the basket. And we've seen it at the defensive end. The one sequence that, the part of his game, Jesse, that I think is still developing is what he's doing defensively. We saw that one sequence where he picked somebody's pocket, took the ball and told him about it, and then brought the ball up court. And that to me was breathtaking, because I love players that take pride in that end of the floor. And in today's NBA, there's not a lot of two-way guys that do that. And I think Fox can be one of the top.
Yeah, we're here with Mark Jones, legendary broadcaster, voice of the Kings, ESPN, a college football aficionado.
Hey.
I can't imagine what your next couple of weeks will look like with college football and Kings basketball. But Mark, there is that moment where he has like a switch that goes.
Yeah.
And again, I don't know how to find that every time, because like he said last night after the game, he had a funny quote. He said, "When you say something to me, come along for the ride."
Yeah.
And I thought that was like very profound. And for me, it was like, hey, I'm gonna need that. I need, because I've known him since he was like a 19-year-old kid,
Right.
covering him, and he's always been brash and a little cocky, and I love it. I'm here for it. Like I like that side of his personality.
Yeah. There's not a player in the NBA that isn't elite that doesn't have that. Yeah.
And that's what you need, though. You need to see it every night. And I think we are seeing the consistency. We're also seeing what you're talking about, the defensive metrics, despite the Kings sort of falling down the ranks in the defensive ratings and stuff. He's not. He's a guy who is playing out of his mind. And you can look at the 3-point percentage against him. It's not like everybody else on that team. So I think there is a moment where, again, maybe it's the max money deal that's sitting there that will motivate him. Maybe it's something else. But the consistency of greatness, he's great, but I need to see it every single night.
Yeah. And I think right now it's just a matter of the team as a whole being able to settle into their respective roles, because I kind of sense that his role, like a lot of other guys in that starting unit especially, has morphed into something different from game to game, it feels like, with the 8 different starting lineups we've had. But if it gets to a point, and I would love for it to get to a point, I think it will get to a point where De'Aaron just decides to, like how old? He's 27, right?
Yeah.
So his leadership voice is just really now developing, I think.
Actually, he'll be 27 on the 20th or the 21st?
Coming up this month. Yeah.
Him and the great Sean Cunningham have the same birthday.
Oh, there you go. I remember Sean's, but not De'Aaron's. Yeah. But no, I think what we're seeing is his leadership voice beginning to develop a little more. We saw last night. I mean, he he was communicating very, strongly with his teammates and very commanding in the way that he was and demanding in the way that he was asking them to get to spots on the floor. And, I just love when they run that zoom action and get him going downhill to a strong hand. It's about as unstoppable a play as the Kings have in their playbook. And, just getting back briefly, James, to the defensive end of the floor, I remember when I spoke with De'Aaron earlier this season, and I said, "Tell me about your defense, man." He says, "Hey, Mark," he looked at me and said, "I'm not the guy you call up in a pick and roll, okay?" Love that. I love that. And he was saying a lot of things in that. He said, basically, he was telling me, hey, there's a lot of dudes that score 25, 30 a game in the NBA that couldn't guard a pylon. I'm not one of them. And I understood exactly where he was coming from. And he's 100% correct. And if, this team, if we can stay in the top 15 in defensive rating, we're going to have a shot in the playoffs because offensively, we've got too many tools not to. I love, guys, what De'Aaron did, and this is an example of it. He showed great sovereignty over our offense yesterday. In the third quarter, whether it was him making the call or Jay Triano or Mike, they were very intentional about getting the basketball to DeMar DeRozan because they knew that they had to get him going. And they made a couple of calls to get him coming off those weak side pin downs and a couple, I think they call it cross punch, where it's a cross screen for DeRozan. He comes across the lane and they post him up, and it was cash. And you saw what he did in the third quarter. So that was a really good snapshot of what this team can be in terms of moving forward and even in the postseason.
You mentioned defense, and like I said into the Worlds earlier, Keon Ellis got no minutes yesterday. Do you think he's back to being a situational role player, and does he need to be out there on the court for the Kings?
Man, his defensive metrics usually grade out pretty well, and he makes Sacramento a better team when he's on the floor. I don't mean to list this as an excuse for the staff or Keon or anyone else, but things have been crazy lately, and when we get through this next stretch and it might be a while still, even until Trey Lyles gets back, who knows? But once they settle in, quote unquote, I think at some point we'll see a little bit more of Keon because, his 3-point shooting is too good not to have out there, especially with a team that's struggling right now from the 3-point line. I think we're 23rd or 25th, somewhere in there in 3-point percentage. I think he helps our pace as well. So there's going to be time and moments for him. And I just think that when you look at the roster, there's with the way that Isaac Jones is developing and Jake Crowder's aboard, when we get whole, that lends to some pretty good versatility in our roster.
All right, you're listening to the Insiders here on ESPN 1320. We, of course, have Mark Jones, the spectacular voice of the Sacramento Kings, on with us. Mark, the Keegan Murray situation, I have no idea. Again, like De'Aaron Fox, I've been around him since he came in the league, and he was very clear at practice this week that he feels like he's okay. He's in a good place mentally. And then we watched him go out last night, and I don't care about the point total. He finished with 14 and 6, I think. A couple of blocks, a steal. But just the feel on the court was that Keegan Murray was back. And I don't know how you keep that thing going and you keep his confidence up. I don't know if it's players putting their arm around him and having good conversations with him and not dark conversations. But where are you at with Keegan and sort of his development and his potential to climb back up?
Yeah, I think he's his rookie year, guys, we saw him at 41% on his threes. Last year took a significant dip because obviously he was in the embryonic stages of becoming a two-way player, getting all the number one options defensively from the opponent. And I think by the time it shakes out this year, we're going to see what the real Keegan Murray looks like in year 3. And I think he's going to settle somewhere around 36% on his 3-point shooting. Last night was a positive sign. He is playing with great force, which is, what will probably help him. He's dealt with shooting slumps before, going back to he talked about it his freshman year in college, and where he shot 27% on threes, and then his senior year, he took off. But, it comes down to, adjustments, a little self-scouting, self-diagnostic things in his game and with his shot. I know that his father and Jawad do a great job in shooting him notes and getting him caught up to speed. His dad, Kenyon, was his first coach and coached him right even through college on the side as a skills coach. And, as long as he's got that wide base with his feet and he's playing with force and he's playing off 2 feet, I think that's one of the adjustments that he might be making along this path. And we've seen examples of him going to the basket and being a real force, So it's probably happening a little bit slower than most of us would like it to. But ultimately, Keegan has the perfect temperament and disposition to be able to get to where he wants to go ultimately. And I think he will. Like I said, I think by the end of the season, he'll end up at 37% on his threes on decent volume and be doing a lot more than he was in his rookie year at the defensive end. And, his offensive rebound has been found money for the Kings, too.
Yesterday, Keegan played well. Kevin Huerter made the most of his minutes, and the team had some attitude, I think, and they kind of took the game to the Rockets. Do you think that could be the start of a turnaround? Because you saw them hit their threes 2 yesterday. It wasn't anything out of the ordinary from the Kings, I think. They just played a good NBA basketball game. Do you think this could be the start of a turnaround?
Yeah, sometimes it takes the right antagonist to bring it out of you. And I think the Houston Rockets came along at the perfect time for the Kings yesterday. When we were doing our crossover in the pregame show, I told Kyle and Mike Bibby and Katie and Morgan, I said, guys, mark it down. There's going to be a fight at some point tonight. There's going to be a little dust up. Hands might be thrown. And lo and behold, it happened with 5 minutes to go in the second quarter. And I think Sacramento has, Jay Crowder's in the mix now. So that adds to the edginess a little bit, which I think is great. That kind of compensates for the lack of not having Trey Lyles on the floor, because Trey was a little bit of a strong man for us. But that game last night could be a catalyst. I really think it was. I think they got a little bit of lightning in the bottle, and now they know the formula could be looking good looking forward. There was nothing lucky about last night. They played great basketball.
Oh, I totally agree.
It's very repeatable too. What they did on defense, what they did on offense. Very repeatable.
Yeah, energy, effort, and you got to execute.
Yeah.
All right, we're joined by Mark Jones, the voice of the Sacramento Kings. Mark, I know you got to go catch a plane, but I want to ask you one more question on the way out the door here. Devin Carter he's been working out for a couple of months here. He should be cleared sometime in January. I don't know if it'd be early or mid, whenever January. He's got to go back in and have that labrum looked at before he's cleared for full contact. What do you know of him? Because you seem to have, that Miami vibe, and I know his dad played there forever. I know his dad was here in Sacramento when he was a kid as an assistant on the staff. But how much do you think Devin Carter can impact this team when he is cleared?
Yeah, I think he will. He's fearless. I watched the kid at Doral Academy in high school and average over 30 a game. Fearless at both ends of the floor. Scrappy. Watched him play as a senior in high school before he went off to college, and was playing against seasoned pros in the NBA players and overseas guys from Europe, and more than handle his own against grown men at the time. So he's got a great feel for the game. I think he'll help our overall team defense. I mean, I think that's probably where he's going to have to earn Mike's trust at first and get on the floor that way, if and when there's a role for him there. But a pretty good three-point shooter too. So, one thing, James and Jesse, that you notice, if you look at what's happening league-wide, there seems to be an increased frequency of teams picking up full court. And I like that trend. And Devin Carter, that's the type of game he likes to play. He's a pressure defense, in your face, run the floor type of player and shoot threes when open, catch and shoot threes. So, I can't wait to see him back on the floor. And he's got great basketball lineage. I covered his father, AC Anthony, when he was a player with the Heat, when he first broke into the summer league. And, Devin's seen his dad's slow climb through the ranks from an unheralded player at Hawaii, and then with the Miami Heat, a free agent, caught on with the Heat and made a name for himself in the league. So he knows all about the grind and the struggle, and has embraced it through the years. And I think he'll thrive here in Sacramento.
Excellent. All right, that is
I tell you though, he was in that summer league. One summer league game, I saw him in the Miami Pro League playing against grown men. He was wearing Versace shorts in one of the games. and the guy on the microphone gave him that nickname, like Versace Carter, Versace with the pull-up.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
I hope I get to a point in life where I can wear Versace shorts playing pickup.
Well, I only wear,
summer league,
like that's like Kenny over here. Versace Kenny over here. Yeah. You're not catching me in those. You're not catching me in black Air Force Ones either.
Oh, yeah, no.
If you see me wearing black Air Force Ones and Versace shorts, something has gone horribly wrong.
You got black Air Force Ones on, James. I'm just leaving you alone that
That's
day.
right.
Yeah.
Just leave me alone. Mark Jones, thank you so much for dropping by. Safe travels. You're on your way to the most beautiful NBA city in the league, Memphis.
The Bluff City, baby. The Grindhouse. I love it.
Good luck.
Gus's Fried Chicken never fails in Memphis, though. That's my first stop.
There it is.
Yeah.
Awesome. Hey, thanks so much for dropping by, Mark. Safe travels, and go kick De'Aaron Fox in the shin for us.
Yeah. I'll step on his shoes to get him mad or something. Maybe it'll be a new pair. Keep up the great work, guys. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate you, Mark.
Thanks, Matt.
Yeah.
All right, that is Mark Jones. Absolutely incredible. Love Mark Jones.
Yeah, Mark is great. Vibes coming out of that, I think, because Mark's around the team and all. I feel like they're not worried yet or anything like that. I think the Kings still feel like they still got a hold on this.
Yeah, totally. I totally agree. All right, we've got to take a break. We're the Insiders here on ESPN 1320. I'm James Ham. That is Jesse Tapia. We are the Insiders. Kyle Madsen is out today. We're brought to you by Jiffy Lube. Coming up next, we will have the handoff at some point. I think Kenny Caraway is going to jump in and chat with us about the Sacramento Kings 120-111 victory over the Houston Rockets last night. See you in just a few. Let me see. How do I? I'm gonna kick him from the studio. There we go. There we go. He's out. What's going on, guys? Shady House. If I have to delete a comment like that again, you're gonna be a lifetime ban. I don't even know the name on who that was, but my goodness, dude, if you want to disrespect one of our guests like that again, you will never, ever be allowed to come back in and hang out on our program. I do not ever want to see something like that again. That was absolutely ridiculous. So, yeah, no. Not okay. Yeah. Got me? I hope you got me. Sorry, Jesse. I don't know if you saw that comment during.
No, I think I missed it.
Yeah. Not okay. Sweet. Cool.
Don't piss off Ham.
Yeah, everything else all right? Yeah, no, I'm not like someone to like. Yeah, I'm not Dylan Brooks. I ain't no fake tough guy. You want to mess with me? Yeah. On the show, I will remove you, but in person, that's not okay. Like straight up, just not okay to say something ridiculous like that. So
Shout out Mark Jones. That was great.
yeah, there was Chester. There was not a. Let's see, Johnny G. There was definitely a thumbs down. That comment, thumbs down. I don't ever want to see something like that to one of our guests. They see the chat, just so you know. He sees the same thing that we see on the back end, and that right there is a legend of the game, and like one of my favorite people to chat with. He's a very, very good dude, and he's always willing to come on the program. So next time, like, yeah, I'm gonna put on my Versace shorts and my black Air Force Ones, and
Try to send. You're showing Black Air Force energy right now. That's pretty much it.
yeah, I'm gonna jump right into the chat, like human form, into the chat, and find you and drag you out and throw you out of the chat, and then
There you go, Hammer.
yeah, not okay. Cool. Good stuff though. Good stuff from Mark. I wanted to make sure we talked about Devin Carter with him, because I knew that he had a long-term relationship with Mr. Carter. What's up, Kenny? We're on a commercial break.
Got about a minute and a half.
I'm just yelling at somebody in the chat for saying something rude to Mark Jones. I know. No. Kenny Caraway in the building. Thanks for jumping in early. We've had a fun show, though. Let's move quickly. Ain't that the facts, man?
Classic Kyle Madsen showed up at Sky River today.
Yeah, Kyle got his dates wrong. He's at Sky River today. Yeah, or it's possible that he thought that he was going to our holiday party.
Makes sense. He's at Dave & Buster's right now.
Dave & Buster's. He's already got his card, swiping his card, playing.
Where's everybody at right now? Yeah.
Kyle Madsen's out there shooting rapid fire. Don't you guys have a show to do? Oh, the late one? Okay. Today's Wednesday. I'm gonna turn your mic on.
Thing, which is still money. Like I still be killing in that, but now I be killing in the football game, the quarterback challenge.
Oh, we're coming back. Welcome back into the Insiders. I'm James Ham. Joining me today, Jesse Tapia. Kyle Madsen is getting fitted for insoles today at the foot doctor, so he will not be in.
Yeah, that's why he wasn't able to make it.
Hey, it's insoles Mando. It's Mando. I don't know how you guys feel about that, James, where you're at or anything, but number one, I wear the insoles when I play basketball now.
Okay.
Definitely. I forgot the name of it, else I'd say right now. But I wear the insoles, like, because I think Dame Lillard supports them. I think they're Soulfly. I think that's what they're called. But Dame Lillard's insoles, I wear those when I play. And they have a option where you could have your everyday insoles, right? Like, so you got the ones when you're being athletic.
I feel like we're being pitched. Do you feel that, Jesse?
Are you trying to sell us some right now?
No, I'm letting the people know it's that time, man.
Do you have stock in this company?
I need stock in this company. I need stock. But yeah, no, it's time, man. The everyday insoles, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna get that. I'm gonna get those.
Okay, so I work sporting goods forever. And there's something called Super Feet. And it's what we typically take and put in high-end ski boots and snowboard boots because there's too much movement inside, and most of them break down in a weird way. So if you buy Super Feet, they're insoles and they mold to your feet, and they're incredible. And it's something even our buddy Charlie had to go get some like he's got plantar fasciitis.
Mm.
I was of course joking. Kyle is not.
Oh no, I know. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've been listening.
We're
I've
making
been
things
listening.
up for what Kyle's been doing all day.
Casey's a
I've been
P1 of the
listening.
insiders.
I am, but it reminded me. It's like, yeah, if anybody wants to give me something for Christmas, then give me the everyday casual Soulfly insole.
Okay.
I got the athletic one. It's called the game day one. I got that one. You know what I'm saying? I hop in it. You know, the crazy thing about that is I always wear 2 pair of socks. Like that's just
Like today, you're wearing 2 pairs of socks.
I'm wearing 2 pair of socks right now.
You're
I
2
like,
pair of sock guy.
yeah, because I like the shoe to be snug on my foot, but it gets too snug if you have the insole and 2 pair of socks. So now I'm trying to get used to wearing 1 pair of socks when I have the insole in there.
Or
And if I
you
have the
just-
everyday joints, I'll probably just go to 1 pair of socks. It's gonna be really different.
You could just bump up a half size in your shoe.
Don't do that,
Yeah.
James. Don't do that. The man has a process here, and you're trying to throw. Don't do that, James. What are you
man, come
doing?
on, man.
The
Yeah,
man has
yeah,
a
yeah.
process, and you're trying to throw him off.
Yeah, I'm making the adjustment. I'm making the adjustment to because then if I did that, there are shoes that I already have that are the size. Right. So
okay.
even if I do bump up from here on, I still got a bunch of shoes that I wouldn't be able to wear the insole.
James coming in with solutions. What do you think you
Solution.
are?
So I had a gym teacher. He was actually never my gym teacher, but he was a gym teacher while I was at in high school,
Mhm.
and he wore his socks inside out.
That's psycho
That's
behavior.
yeah, no.
Yeah, but
stop.
Don't
he had-
trust that guy.
He had a very he wore like the white tube socks with the big like stripes.
Yeah.
Oh, he was one of the TV show gym teachers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Short shorts.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
very tight t-shirt. And very very
Had the
old.
whistle around his neck too. I'm
Yeah,
sure.
so
yeah,
whistle,
yeah.
of course. Yeah, and he was older. Like he retired after like maybe a year after I left.
Okay.
Anyway, he would wear his socks inside out because his point was like the softness of a sock is all on the outside. Like, why do I want to have like the seam where the sock is sewed up? Why do I want to have all that on the inside of my sock?
Well, that poor guy, he had bad socks.
Yeah, you just mind
That's
bad
not-
socks at that point,
I
pal.
don't know.
Go to Marshalls and
That's
get you a
not
normal
true.
pair of socks.
I don't know. It was a whole thing because you would look, you're like, hey man, why are your socks inside out? Or hey, did you forget to put your socks on the right way? It's like, no, this is what I do. This is how I roll.
Come on, man.
Poor buddy's
on,
just been
man.
living life thinking socks are meant to feel like sandpaper, so I'm gonna be the bright guy, or whatever, and switch them inside out. Meanwhile,
yeah, Mr. Smith, you that was wrong.
That's
Mr.
right.
Smith. I don't know if that was his name. but-
Probably,
Yeah.
probably. I can't even remember at this point.
That
He was
just
never my
wrong.
gym teacher. I was never close to him, but yeah, it was always.
That's
wild.
crazy.
Well, let's segue to from comfortable socks to the Kings playing a very
Oh,
comfortable
man.
brand of basketball
Come
last
on,
night.
man. Come on. The sun is shining out here a little brighter today, man.
That's right.
It's shining a little brighter. The Kings win. That was just a good game that we saw from them last night.
no
It was a
joke.
good game.
I was watching that game yesterday, and they're hitting threes. I'm like, wow, this is incredible. They got to be like around 18 threes at this point or something. Wow, where's this been? I look, it's at 11.
Yeah, man. And look, we'll talk about this all throughout the day. They were just competent from the 3-point line. They were just competent, and it changed everything. They weren't on fire. They didn't, oh my gosh, scorched earth. They're out there shooting like Craig Hodges. No, that's not what it was. They just weren't anemic from beyond the arc. They weren't anemic, and it changed everything. What they put up, 120? Easy 120? Hey, that's all I ask. Just be normal. Just be regular.
Okay, so I did not have Craig Hodges on my bingo card today.
I don't think he did either.
The 14 of 30 from three. I mean, it's only 14 makes. It's only 30 shots. I'm sure Mike Brown would have liked to have seen 38 of, but 46.7%.
It's really good. That is good.
But I thought every aspect of the game, they were good. We talked about Malik Monk had 12 assists, 0 turnovers. Like the 17 points is fine. And those 17 came late.
Yeah.
Like I think he was at 11 and hit 2 threes in the fourth to get up to 17. But man, the third quarter by DeMar DeRozan was incredible. The second quarter by De'Aaron Fox, just Sabonis just going at them again and again. Like all of these aspects, Keegan Murray stepping up, Kevin Huerter, like there it is, man. That's all you have to be. Don't be more, don't be less, just be that. Isaac Jones, like
Oh, man.
applaud
Come
the
on now.
Isaac Jones. I mean, like everything felt like it fell into place, and they were mean. They were pushing. They were fighting back. They had that, like what we just talked to Mark Jones, that black Air Force One energy. They did. They had that like moxie to them that we've been waiting to see. And if you don't play like that every night in the Western Conference, you're going to get your ass kicked.
Yeah,
that's it.
It's as simple as that. They were ready. They were ready to compete last night, but they did a lot of good things in that game, and I don't want to dumb it down and simplify it. That 3-point shot, like I said, if you're just regular from beyond the arc, it changed because with Sabonis, they're going to score points in the paint. With DeRozan and Fox, they're going to score in the mid-range. Now with DeRozan, they're going to get to the free throw line. All those are givens, in my opinion. The thing that's been missing is hitting the three ball. And when you have Kevin Herter, Keegan Murray, and I'm going to throw Malik Monk in there. People ask, like, who are the shooters on this team? Like, where are the shooters? I know he's a little streaky traditionally and everything, but I even think if you, like, look at the numbers career-wise and then you get deep into the numbers and catch and shoot threes, like, Malik Monk is a shooter, like the way we think of Kevin Herter and Keegan Murray. And you throw him into that equation, and I think those three went 10 of 20 last night from beyond the arc. You get, come on, man. Your shooters are shooting at that point. De'Aaron Fox threw in a 4 or 6 from beyond the arc, which is icing on the cake. Yeah, man, you get your shooters shooting, and it just changes the whole trajectory of what this team is and can be. And that's what really stood out to me last night.
First question, was that the best game they played all season?
Oh, I think without a doubt.
You got the Utah game at Utah.
Well, the Minnesota game in Minnesota.
And they have Phoenix at home. The killer with this is they haven't played a top flight 4 quarters all year, because even last night they played okay in the first quarter, but they were down 8-9 at the end of the quarter, at the end of the first quarter, and then they just kind of got closer as the game went along.
They're down 7.
Down 7. But it wasn't like they played bad. You look at the first Utah game that I'm talking about, that game was kind of ridiculously close for the first half unnecessarily. The Phoenix game, where it was just Devin Booker, they were up 15, 17 points, let Phoenix come back and take the lead at one point in the third quarter, then open it up and end up winning by 20 some odd points. So those are the games that come to mind off the top of my head. But all things considered, going up against a team like Houston, and it got a little contentious in the middle of that, and the way they responded and kind of pulled away from them. Yeah, this probably was the best win of the season.
I guess my point with this is that, like, you played 8 guys, no Keon Ellis. Do we think that this is sustainable for right now?
I got to be honest. I think going back to the previous game, the mistakes by Keon Ellis were like so egregious that
where it kind of warranted him not playing yesterday.
I think that might have been a one, like, hey, why don't you watch for a sec?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I mean, we had the really, really bad, that he gave away the 2 points on the foul with 1.6 seconds left. There's a couple of moments in that game where you're like, hey man, that you can't make those mistakes. And like, look, if Mike Brown has chosen a path here, like, if he's gonna give Isaac Jones an opportunity, Isaac Jones is going to make mistakes. You cannot have somebody else who's making egregious errors. It's something that, again, you would live with the mistakes that Buddy Hield made, but what you couldn't have is Buddy Hield and one other guy making those same mistakes. Because when that happens, it's
leave Whiteside out of this.
Well,
you know he wanted to say it. You know he wanted to say it.
But
you're right, though. You're right.
You can't have five egregious turnovers or 5 errors that are costly by 2 players. You can have one player who has 2 or 3. You can't have 5 or 6 because then you're going to have your normal, great play steal, someone picks somebody's pocket. You're going to have enough, standard turnovers, offensive foul by Sabonis. You're going to have those. So it's what takes you from like your standard 12 to 13 turnovers to 17 or 18 in this ball game. Or 20, which is what they had. You can't have those mistakes. And so I don't know that we didn't ask Mike about this, because like, look, after a game like that, where your team just went out there and punched a good team right in the face and kept punching, and then got a bunch of them ejected, and was like, hey, that is something. I mean, what we watched we had to focus on the good.
Mhm.
You can't say, hey, oh, by the way, coach, Keon Ellis,
Yeah.
why are you not playing Keon Ellis tonight? It's like, well, because that doesn't matter. You won the game. You had 8 guys that played major minutes. I think it was a little telling that Keon Ellis did not play in the last 2 minutes of the game either.
That stood out to me too, actually.
Well, I took that. Okay, I took that a little differently. A little bit of sign of respect. I'm not going
That's
to put
fine.
you out there then.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not going to do that to you, like where you're getting garbage time minutes. You're not that, and especially if you're talking about it's more of, hey, take a seat for a little bit, think about what happened, and playing consistently.
Mhm.
I don't know if you would put him in there in that time if it's just that, right? Like if
Yeah.
you're not that guy, you're not this garbage minute guy. You're still a guy that we think is better than that. So I'm not going to put you in there in garbage minute. I just think that you need to kind of get your mind right or whatever. If that's what's going on, I kind of took it a little bit, I guess, as a sign of respect to who he thinks Keon Ellis is.
No, I think you might have been right.
Yeah.
I would like to know, like, maybe we'll ask a question eventually, but I don't think it's by the time the Kings get back from the road trip. I don't think the Keon Ellis question is going to be still floating out there. Maybe it is. Maybe he doesn't play the next 2 games, and then it's like, okay, we got to ask a question. But when you have John Moran and Desmond Bain coming at you in the next game, that's one thing. And who do they play on Friday?
They play Spurs on Friday.
Spurs, yeah.
Jazz on Sunday.
Yeah, and you might need Keon Ellis against Devin Vassell. You might, again, I don't think that Keon Ellis is out of the picture here. I just think that whether it was one game or Mike was just trying to say, hey, I'm only playing 8 guys tonight, and that's it. And even the 8 guys, like we talked about this earlier, I think they all gave something, right? Even, it doesn't show up in the box score a whole bunch what Jay Crowder did, but I think in a perfect world, this is who Jay Crowder is to the Kings. He's 12 minutes, and it doesn't matter if he scores or not. He's just going out there and not hurting you in his 12 minutes and giving you solid veteran minutes. Sometimes it'll equate to a couple of threes. Other times it won't. But overall, if you can put a guy out there and know that he's going to be competent and hold his own, that's what you're kind of looking for.
Yeah, and you know what? The 8 guys playing, like maybe it's a situation where you kind of, look at Kevin Huerter and first half, first time out there, see if he's got it, if he's looking good. If not, maybe you go to Keon, and that maybe he's playing that type of rotational game. But I look at, I'm pulling it up right now, I look at the minutes last night for the starters, and I know I wouldn't necessarily want Keegan at 40, but because of the hole that you kind of dug for yourself, yeah, maybe in December, especially at home, I need these guys at about 35 to 37. Like I'm not really, unless somebody's scorching hot and somebody's doing other things like Isaac Jones was last night, I'm not really like, oh, I got to manage the minutes and we got to catch up. Like we got some makeup to do. And the starters have been relatively consistent. They haven't necessarily been a problem when they're on the floor. Things have been going well. So at least for December, we've got like almost a mini, vacation all-star break thing going on with this NBA Cup where you play like one game in a week or something, or one game.
No, there's going to be 2 more games added.
Well, they added on the 12th and the 16th, but to get to they play on the 8th. They play on Sunday. They don't play again until Thursday. And then they play on Monday. So you're going to have Friday, Saturday, Sunday off. Like there's going to be some time. There's going to be some time. Yeah, these guys got to go about 35, 37 I'd say for the month of December, you know what I mean, on a consistent basis, because we got to catch up. Like I know we want more production from the bench. We want a deeper bench and all this, but we got to make up. I need my starters in there.
I was telling James earlier, they're at a point where there's no room for error right now, whether it be James said for the season and whether it be like in game. No one can really have a bad game at this point.
Yeah, they dug themselves that hole, man. They've got to dig out of it a little bit. So I think that might also play a role in Keon's minutes and maybe Kevin's minutes moving forward. Kevin played well last night, so he was able to work himself into 25 minutes. But, if the shot's not falling and maybe he's not locked in on the defensive end, that might be 15 minutes and Keon gets 10 of those minutes or something like that in a particular game. But those starters, I think they're going to be 34 to 38 minutes plus moving forward.
Any thoughts on angry De'Aaron Fox? We got team effort here. James says that he's gonna did like little sneak diss, little whatever as he leaves, trying to
Trying
annoy
to
him,
make him angry.
kick
I
him
heard
in his
that.
shin
That's
a
a
little
good-
bit. Mark
that's a
Jones
good-
says he's gonna step on his shoes a bit on the road.
Yeah, it's a good plan. It's a good plan. I might be like, you know, hey man, them waves ain't hitting today. You know, when I see him, be like, hey, bro, the do-rag didn't work last night. You know, something like that. Something to make him look at me crazy. Like, what you talking about, bro? All right, you lucky I got to go play this game right now outside of hand. And then he's got that energy going into the game.
Darren
See-
Fox is walking around the building. Why is everyone so mean to me now?
This is exactly what my plan is. Like we had his mom in the chat. I don't know if Lorraine is still here, but
Shout out my girl Lorraine.
hey Lorraine, we're gonna add you to this as well. We're gonna need you like on the days that Mark isn't covering the game, where Mark isn't on the road. We're gonna have to have Lorraine call him and say, hey, you're not welcome at Christmas. He's gonna be like, what? Like whatever it is, like you're getting nothing for Christmas.
It is. I
Right.
see De'Aaron, you know, in the little drip walk hallway. That shirt's kind of ugly, dog. I ain't really feeling that. Like what? Hey, bro, you lucky I got to go to warm up. So I said, and then he's just gonna have that whole energy, man.
Bro, because
I
there
ain't
was no
feeling that.
stopping him yesterday, and he was the best player on the court, and it's just kind of all eyes on De'Aaron. I felt like.
Well, then you got to deal with the fact that he's acknowledged that's what it is. He said, yeah, you know, I don't really say much. But when you get to talking to me, what was the quote? He said, we're gonna come get on this ride or something like that. What did he say exactly?
Yeah, I have it. I tweeted that quote out last night. People, you say
That was a
something.
bar.
You say something to me. Come along for the ride.
Come along for the ride. Put it on a shirt. David Garcia, come on, man. Put it on a shirt. Come along for the ride.
Yeah.
So he's acknowledged. We all seen him. We didn't see him for 7-8 years now. There is a switch that gets flipped when he gets agitated with something, whether it's a call, another player, whatever. He turns into mean De'Aaron.
Angry Fox.
Angry Fox.
I swear this is the only team we're like, can you please just play pissed off today, please? We're like for Keegan or someone, just be mad today.
Yeah.
Keegan actually had a little force to his game last night, I felt like as well, man. It wasn't like overly demonstrative, but you just saw it from him. He moved with a different type of purpose or something like that last night. And then, I mean, he's hitting the shots, man. And it's just like I said, you talked about it earlier on the show, 14-8. It's not like he went for 40, but 14-8, 3 of 5 from beyond the arc. That's all we need. Jay-Z said, happy birthday, Jay-Z. All I need. That's all I need. That's all I need from Keegan. Hit your open threes, give me them rebounds, play your defense, and we cooking at that point.
Yeah, I thought he was asked about his celebration after Dylan Brooks getting tossed from the game. Well, getting his 6th foul. He's like, yeah, I was just pointing the other direction.
That's a good Keegan.
Just like, I wanted to make sure he knew that it was going the other way.
Keegan said, go that way.
The ball's going that way now. And you're going to the locker room because you fouled out. Yeah, it's good stuff, man.
Hey, Dylan Brooks, he irritates people. He irritates the fans. He's a villain. Oh man, I wish he was on the Kings.
Everyone could use
he was on the Kings.
I don't know.
Yes,
Oh,
I'm
I
with
wish he was
Casey.
on the
Yes,
Kings.
imagine if they were playing with this attitude every
man.
game.
I wish he was on the Kings.
I can
man.
deal with Jay Crowder level of it. I can't deal with Dylan Brooks. Like I'm with Kyle on, Dylan Brooks has one of those faces where you I don't know if you saw this, but anytime, when they were doing the review for a flagrant, they kept showing, and to see if there was any more things that happened with the Dylan Brooks, when he got his tech. They kept showing a baby in the stands and the fans would cheer.
Yeah.
And then they would show Dylan Brooks and everyone
That
would
was a
boo.
great bit. They did a good job.
They did a really good job last night.
Hey, the Jumbotron had a night last night.
It did have a night last night.
Hey, Kings are back. The Kings are back.
Jumbotron was cooking last night, boy.
It was. If you don't know what we're talking about, go ahead and just I don't maybe look up Kiss Cam Sacramento.
There was a plan there. I was telling James before the show, like they knew, hey, if we're ever on Kids Cam, like this is what's going down.
Oh yeah, they said we're sitting lower level.
Yeah, that was
possibility.
That was
we may
probably
be on
years
the
in the making right there.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
popping
that
off.
was a bet that was lost. Somebody had lost a bet there, and it was like the entire scene playing out was like, oh no, it's happening.
Yeah, well, they were the ones that I think they were like, well, we about it. We're gonna do it. Somebody like, you ain't gonna do that. Like, watch me. Watch me.
That's what.
And they
I'm
did.
mad about it.
Yeah.
I'm ratty. That's what she said.
Pew guy was the opposite. That kind of signified the end. Maybe this is the beginning.
Yo, didn't the Kings start cooking after that? Didn't they go like I saw they went on like a
Maybe like everyone in the stands were like,
they made like
What
4
did we
threes
just
in a
see?
row. Like they start cooking. Somebody had the numbers on Twitter. Like they start cooking after that moment.
yeah, it's very possible. It was like, what just happened? Hey, the crowd was great last night. I will point out there was only 15,000 fans last night in the building.
Yeah.
Like
Put that on the team.
Yeah, they're gonna have to work that back up.
Yeah.
That's on the squad, man. That's on the squad. They're gonna have to work that back
and
up.
against a really good Houston team. I know it's a Tuesday night, it's tough. People have school the next day and stuff, work and everything else. But yeah, that was a little sketchy.
Yeah.
All right, what do you guys got coming up?
Man, more Kings talk, man. We're gonna enjoy this Kings talk. NBA Cup is set. The bracket, the knockout round is ready to go. So we'll talk about that. And we got power rankings as well. Oh, Mark Haynes is pulling up on us, and James Ham is pulling on us.
Oh, that's right. I'll be here. I will be here later. Excellent. Well, thanks for filling in today, Jesse.
It was a fun time.
Kyle Madsen was having his eyebrows threaded today and was not able to make it.
Show up. He'll be here tomorrow, though.
He will be here tomorrow. So thanks for tuning in to the Insiders here on ESPN 1320. I'm James Ham. Jesse Tappy over there. We got D'Lo and Casey coming up next. Should be a good, fun 12 to 4.
Vibes are good, man. Kings won. Vibes are good.
Vibes are up. I guess I should say be nice to people and drink water.
I got
and
my
then
water.
something like that.